Hello economics students, so let's have a look at the next market failure along. Common access resources. Now let's think about the language and what this might mean before we actually dig into what it does mean. So they're common, right? Well, maybe that means that there's a lot of them around on our planet. There's access, there's common access. Maybe that has something to do with the excludability of them. And resources, well, we know what economic resources are. They're probably not humans. Maybe they're natural resources. Yes, exactly. That is what they are. So, specifically, they're any goods that exhibit these characteristics. They are depletable and non-excludable. So let's start with a little thinking activity. It's called the survival of the fittest. If I dropped you and your classmates on an island with all these yummy things available to you, fish, crabs, oysters, wild boar, even wild berries, and what would happen with no government intervention? It's sort of like Year 12 camp, but with no teachers, no cooks, no organisation or food supplies, just these things. Pause and really think about what might happen on this island, on this special Year 12 camp. Now, I think despite how amazing all you are, we would descend into sort of like primordial mode, sort of, survival of the fittest mode, as it's called. So in the short term, maybe life would be great. There's no intervention. There's no teachers that can tell you what to do. You can stay up all night and eat crab if you want. But in the longer term, you are going to, and just for argument, anyone in this situation are going to run out of these things. Who's going to stop anyone from taking all the crabs or chopping down all the trees without any concern for intertemporal efficiency? The market can't do this. The market cannot account for the future, right? There's no mechanism built into the market that gives concern for the future. Now, maybe you might think, well, hey, we should save some of these things for the future. When the teachers are going to come and pick us up. Maybe we need to, until the teachers come and pick us up, maybe we need to sort of like ration these things. But when you see Jimmy sneak out into the night and eat the last crab, you're probably going to think, I want to do the same thing, right? I need to survive myself. And in fact, what people would probably likely to do is to anticipate the overconsumption as well-trained economics students and bring forward consumption. So you're going to eat these things quicker than you otherwise would. So what I'm getting at here is, absent some kind of rules, some sort of intervention, the market's going to fail here. Okay, so in a free and competitive market, forget that example for a moment, in a free and competitive market, common access resources are over-consumed. We consume too many of them. That's important language. They get over-consumed, and that's because they are depletable. So once I eat the crab, no one else can. And they're non-excludable. So it's very hard to stop me from eating that crab. Okay? So let's look at some examples in the real world. And here we have the example of the Murray-Darling Basin. It's a water system in New South Wales, and I think you can see here there's lots of farms that are nestled against or propped up against the Murray-Darling Basin because it's a very important farming district. Now let's assume that the water flows this way downwards, right? Sort of flows this way. And again, absent any form of intervention, what is stopping the farmer from up here taking all the water out of this the basin, the Murray-Darling Basin, and stopping the farmer down here from having access to any water? What is stopping farmer A up the top here doing that? And again, there is no mechanism in the free market to stop this behavior. Okay? So by the same theory applied to your island, the farmer actually might be incentivized to take all the water as soon as possible to beat their competitor. Before, if they don't take all the water out up the top here, well, the farmer down here might do it, or the farmer down here might do it. So they're going to look at that behavior and say, well, it might as well be me, and take all the water. Okay? So farmer A would actually be incentivized to take the water out, and so the market fails. Remember, this is because it's non-excludable. Farmer B would find it very hard to stop the next farmer along or the top farmer from taking out the water, and it's depletable. Once it's taken out up the top, it doesn't make its way down to the bottom. Now, the second example is fish stock in the ocean here. This can and has turned into a huge geopolitical mess between countries, because even with intervention by one country, what's stopping another country from taking all the fish, from fishing all these beautiful fish for their country when they make their seasonal migration into that particular country's waters? Okay, Google the South China Sea. The market alone cannot ration. It can't ration these fish or can't ration this water. And I think that's really an important word, is to be able to ration these resources. Really, we need to be able to save some, we'll have some today, but save some for the future. Again, fish are non-excludable. It's very hard to stop China from fishing large quantities of fish, and they're depletable. So once they're out of the ocean, nobody else can fish them. They're gone. Finally, over here, logging. It's also important. It's big in Australia and other parts of the world. And I think if we think to like early days of colonisation in Australia, when settlers first got their plots of land in Victoria or Tasmania, I imagine there was no regard for the future. There would be non-discriminate logging. They would only be thinking about the here and now, okay? And they wouldn't be thinking about the future generations. Would there be enough logs for the future generations? Little side point here, a tree has a very steep, a very inelastic supply curve. They take a long time to grow. Okay, so remember, they're overconsumed by the free market, common access resources, which reduces intertemporal efficiency. The market fails. Your turn, have a think about maybe how we might solve this problem of common access resources, and maybe some extra common access resources. All right, bye for now.